So we're just wrapping up our meeting of our annual regularly scheduled ROC Resilience Roundtable, where we talk about the challenges that we have facing as it relates to the federal government. One of the things we realized here in Rochester is that in order to really thwart a lot of the attack that is coming from the federal government, it's important for us to speak with a unified voice and work collectively. One of the things that I wanted to announce today is that we are joining a lawsuit against the federal government. It's San Francisco versus Trump of the Northern District of California. As you know, they have threatened to pull funding from so-called sanctuary cities. We think that that is illegal, and we will be joining that lawsuit. You will hear more about that in the coming days. After I'm done giving my remarks here, Patrick Beef can fill you in on that. But we were added to a list, as you know, as was just about all of New York State, Monroe County. That list is now down. But again, we have had our policy on the books since 1986. As I tell people, I was 6 years old. We are answering that in court. We're asking that that suit be dismissed. We think it's frivolous. We think that it is without merit. We think that it is a distraction. We think that it is a distortion, and it is definitely deception. We have said this regularly, and we will continue to make sure that we push back against that. The other thing that is a very, very concerning for us right now that's happening is the Medicaid cuts that will have a very, very negative effect on the city of Rochester. We know that in New York State alone, we're talking about almost $3 billion if these Medicaid cuts go through, and that will decimate New York State's budget, and they say stuff rolls downhill. That will have a major, major impact on Rochester as well. And also the proposed federal budget that is out that calls for the elimination of community development block grants. That's roofs for old people. That's housing for people with AIDS. All these things are common sense measures that have been successful, that have given people a safety net. They all stand to be yanked away, and we will be issuing to the community what they can do, a call to action to the community for them to reach out to the representatives in Washington and say, stop this madness, let's have some clarity, and let's go back to some collaboration and cooperation and stop trying to find the battleground. Every day, there's something coming out of Washington that makes absolutely no sense. The city of Susan B. Anthony and Frederick Douglass were making it clear that we're not gonna stand for it. So, but the headline I wanted to announce today is that we will be filing a suit, San Francisco versus Trump. We will be joining that lawsuit to stop, in a proactive way, this attack on localities. You can't say that you are for the rule of law, and you can't say that you're for states' rights and city rights and then try to force us to do your job for you. All we're saying is it's not our job to do your job. We don't ask you to do our job for us, so don't ask us to do your job for you. And we're also not going to beg for dollars that belong to us. There's only twice in the last 10 years where New York State has sent less money to the federal government than we get back, and that was during the COVID years. Other than that, we get more money. So what we're saying in Rochester is that we'd rather die standing up than living on our knees, and we will not live on our knees by any means, particularly in the city of Frederick Douglass. We're just not going to do that, and we will continue to push back against this. And I want to thank all the folks that are involved in the ROC Resilience Roundtable. But again, look forward to more information in the suit we will be filing. Trump versus San Francisco, the city of Rochester will be joining that. And we will, we've already filed our answer to the federal government's case that's taking place right now at the federal courthouse. And we hope that we will see that case dismissed, but we will continue to fight for it. And with that, we'll take any questions. I do have Patrick Beef here, who can detail any questions that you might have as it relates to the legal case. So any quick questions?
Mayor, more specifically on funding, can you comment or your thoughts on Head Start funding, possible cuts there?
That would be devastating to us in our community. Rochester has one of the best Head Start funding programs that are around. I don't know if my Head Start folks, he may have had to leave, but Action for a Better Community was here, and that would have a negative effect on young people. We know that brains grow 0 to 3 years old, and if a kid is in Head Start, they have a better chance of graduating, they have a better chance of reaching their goals and being a successful adult. So why would you want to pull that rug out from under them? That has been a bipartisan program, by the way, for the past 60 years that has stood the test of time. So any cuts to Head Start would be that would have an absolutely negative impact on Rochester, but not just our Rochester, but in rural areas as well. Head Start also operates in areas that are outside cities. They also operate in rural areas, so that would be very, very that would be a very, very negative impact on our broader community.
How many lawsuits against the administration is this now?
I-
2 or 3? Or?
I'm losing track on how many, but as you know, our first lawsuit that we filed was back in February as an amicus brief against the NIH when they were trying to cut funding to research universities. We joined Boston, Cleveland, and other cities similar to us that have large employment bases that depend on research institutions. We were able to get an injunction in that suit, and that was critical because that would have resulted in thousands of jobs lost and millions of dollars lost at the University of Rochester, which would have really, really affected our city. And as you know, we were sued as it relates to sanctuary cities, and now we are also joining this suit as it relates to San Francisco versus Trump, and there may be others that we will join. The bottom line is that the rule of law still has to mean something in this country, and it just can't be when it suits you. And we believe that we have to push back against what we see, a runaway federal government, where 10 years ago, there's no way that people in Washington would have stood for the federal government encroaching on local control. And that is what we're seeing now. And regardless of your political stripe, Democrat or Republican, what you are seeing is an encroachment on our local sovereignty and our local rights, and we're not going to stand for it. Any other questions? Okay, thank you everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.